Yo, I was almost way too mean. I can't do it. Welcome.
Is this how we start right here? We can't even do our welcome cup.
I was like, welcome, horrors of the internet.
Welcome, everyone. We haven't done a stream in a while, but there's reasons. And that's why we're doing DisasterCast, so we can catch the world up and catch ourselves up. Hello. Let's not miss the intro. This is DisasterCast, a D&D podcast where we sometimes talk about D&D. I think they'll be heavy on the sometimes today, but I am Nat Disasters. Excuse me. Oh my God. Wow. I just burped in the middle of my intro. I am the DM, the Disaster Master here, and also one of the co-founders, Bryan Creevy. And I'm joined here by my other co-founder.
Give me 1 sec. I'm adjusting an audio.
His name is not 1 sec. Just to let everybody know.
I don't last no 1 second. I have to schedule a whole entire afternoons.
But
Easy jokes. That's all I got. That's all we have. A low-hanging fruit since we've lost any concept of the high-hanging fruit since the world's been set on fire. Hi, I'm Conlan Rose. I play Bracket, Rain, Greg, Altuck. See? It's there. Other characters that you don't know about. I'm
you're
also
sharp this morning.
Every morning I'm sharp because I'm in a bad mood. Let everyone in on the secret. The sharper Conlan is, either the worse the mood he's in, or the worse the mood he's in. I'm sorry, I'm just a simple man. When I'm in a bad mood, I wake up angry, and I'm awake, because I'm in defensive mode. And I'll be like that until this shit gets solved.
So for 4 years or longer?
Potentially forever, Bryan.
Well,
it all depends on how stupid everyone is. I have no control of the dumb humans, and they're very dumb.
Yeah, the world's not getting smarter.
No, actively not.
But yeah, so there has been a lot of time that's gone by since we've done this D&D game or even my DM plays. October is very busy, and November apparently has been very busy.
What's very funny is our first session in October, I thought it was already October, and then October happened. And I was like, somehow, October was 3 months.
October lasted for a fucking long time.
I feel like I got nothing done. And I did so much. I know I did so much, but it all was just
a jumble altogether, yep. And then we're already halfway, most of the way through November, which we were planning to do a D&D game later today, but November got so busy for me that I no longer am free today. So we had to postpone our next D&D session to Tuesday. So everybody log in next Tuesday, 7:30, 8 o'clock probably. That's normally where we start nowadays.
Yeah. But yeah, this is a disaster cast. I don't know if that's peeking the crap out of the mic or not.
Emphasis on the disaster.
That's why the fact that we're called Nat Disaster is the most adequate and correct name ever, which is just the facts of what we are.
Maybe our view count will go up since now the world is a disaster.
That's why I'm hoping. That's why we're going to start the Bluesky, where that's why we're going to follow a whole bunch of people. In the starter packs, it's faster because we're going to be an early adopter as one of the early podcasts on it because we're being in the first 17 million users on what's clearly going to be a huge website in the long term. Huge. I'm actively not going to listen to that voice the entire 4 years.
You're just going to hear reports of what he's doing?
Yeah, I'm not going to listen to... I tried to read one press release and I'm not doing it.
So I think that's where a lot of the stress in our lives and worlds lies now. There is a lot of stuff in our actual lives, but the elephant in the room.
It's the big orange elephant that's mentally retarded. Oops, you're not supposed to say that, but I don't think it matters with him.
Yo, quick side note. I hope we don't get canceled for saying
I
that
don't give
word.
a shit.
But it's crazy about growing up with that word, and now I'm in the auto industry, and sometimes we have to be like, oh yeah, that sensor's over retarded. And it's
Yeah, it's because
sounds
it's
correct.
the actual. When I actually mean it, I actually do mean slow. The correct use of the term, which is actually a little meaner.
Mhm.
I don't mean special ed. I mean you slow.
Because that's what it means in the auto industry.
That's what also the term came from. It existed in the auto industry, became common in an American lexicon by people working on vehicles, and also in World War II, nearly every single American male that was military aged learned about engines at a very base level because they had to fix crap at base, in the field, everywhere. So they all learned about engines, so they learned what that term meant, and then the term entered the lexicon because they knew, well, this kid's a little bit slow. He's... Unfortunately, this became a label that ended up being used for special needs people, and that's when it became bad.
Good job
it's still
catching
bad.
yourself. You went special needs.
Well, because it's not necessarily special education. It's actually people with special needs across the whole spectrum. Because it wasn't just broadly only in education used. It's used by everyone, including adults with special needs.
Yeah. But...
I can be politically correct if I can be the woke if I choose to be.
Conlan, if you're woke, then apparently you are the detriment to our society. You're trying
I'm not
to
a
shit
rapist.
on American values. You know,
sorry,
just
your values are rapist.
Mm-hmm.
I only can be mean. I have no niceness left. It's dead.
Yeah. So.
It's why I just don't even talk to it with people who I need to respect for another couple of years. I'm like, I don't want to talk about politics because I'm just going to tell you to go fuck yourself because you're mentally retarded.
Yeah. So the orange elephant in the room, DT, the Donald, has been reelected as the president of the United States and won the popular vote.
By like...
What was the final count for the difference between them?
It said like 1.7 something. It might even be less than that now. As they cure ballots and solve discrepancies and stuff like that across all the states, because that's normal for an election, especially a presidential election when you have so many more voters than normal. It'll take some time to count up those last ballots, or sometimes they're postmarked by a certain date. They're still counted, irregardless of when they show up.
Wow, yeah, it got a lot closer. I just pulled it up because I remember it was
He doesn't even have a majority. He doesn't even have a majority of America to even vote for him. It's under 50%.
It was he had over 5 million votes over Kamala. He is now 76.7 million. She's 74.1 million. So it's a 2.6 million difference in the popular vote. Even so, that is very sad, America. And
it's purely because America isn't educated enough. That's the real reason all this has happened.
So before, obviously, we get into all of this.
Let's destroy the Department of Education. That's the solve, obviously.
So before we get into this, just saying, because politics is such a heavily debated thing nowadays, and it sucks that it is, but even though not many people watch us, I typically am liberal leaning. I do consider myself a moderate in the middle because I do agree with conservative views at times, and I do think some liberal views sometimes are just being ridiculous, but I am more liberal leaning overall.
I'd say, yeah, me and Bryan are pretty matched. I am even more conservative in a handful of things, but even more liberal in other stuff. Whoa, wild,
yeah,
man. We're both centrists. It's probably why me and Bryan have so many friends that are Trumpers, and we're like, ah, crap, now what? This is only going to be unpleasant.
Yeah. But it is just stupid decision after stupid decision. I'm sure anybody who is watching who has the same type of beliefs of us thinks the same thing. Maybe even some conservatives do, because Matt Gaetz?
Hey,
Why?
I'm not going to say or forget a defamation lawsuit about the suspected pedophile.
He's not
Nearly confirmed, but like
nearly confirmed pedophile. However, broke the legal system, so we all know without knowing.
it's kind of wild of how bad some of this is.
It's crazy that they can get away with
We've
it.
had people who are very much potentially complete Russian assets being named as cabinet members.
It's like
We
I
are
don't
in the least safe we've
understand.
ever been. I am tired of living through history. That's what Mark said to me like 2 days after the election. He's like, I'm really tired of living in historical times.
That's the one thing that honestly I've stayed sane and relatively calm by many like thoughts that I've gone through by myself, but one of them is we are always in the best and the worst time in history all throughout history, because we are better than we used to be in many ways, but
Yeah.
we also are humans, so we're flawed, so we also like to
Make
fuck
terrible
everything up.
choices.
Like I just watched something, what was it? It was like the Blue Initiative for certain schools in Texas or something like that. I forgot what it was called, but it's basically people advocating for Christianity to be taught in public schools, and it's like comparing those stories to historical stories and stuff like that, and it's just like I don't understand what happened to the American value of separation of church and state. Why are we forcing certain religions on people? And it's
It's called evangelical Christianity.
evangelical, yes.
Yes. Is because you're supposed to be selling it to the people at all times, and the best sell to the American people is to make it the official religion of the state. It's an official position from their sect of the church.
I don't understand, and I get it. I understand.
Sorry, we're a D&D podcast that sometimes talks about D&D.
We're very
current
rarely
events
about D&D this session. There's current events that we need to go over.
And yeah, unfortunately that harm friends and family of ours.
It's crazy that they get into positions of power and then they can just suddenly make the rules that we have set up not matter anymore.
Well, yeah. Well, some of that is just so. The problem with the American democracy is it is a democracy, and democracies are a beautiful thing, but flawed in that you can manipulate the people in the democracy. So it's hard to like solve things if you manipulate the American people right, which has unfortunately been happening in the past. Like ever since social media was a thing, honestly, it's been constant. Even people within our own country manipulate us. Like all over the world is manipulating America because they are the world's most economically powerful country and culturally powerful and militarily powerful. So if you can manipulate them, you win. Which is why the world's wild and why we, being Americans, which is so like God, we're the center of the world like thing to say, which makes me feel like an asshole. But we are. Like it's just reality, not something I chose. But we live here, so that means that when we get manipulated, we get to live with the consequences that we never chose because we didn't get manipulated.
And see that's the consequences of all the history that we have gone through. We have, as America, have built such a strong, powerful, influential country that it becomes very dangerous who gets put into power.
Well, that's why over tradition throughout American presidents has been electing on either party a more center person from that party or moderate, and no super extremists.
And since social media and all the uneducateds gotten social media and found their
everyone has
news
social
outlet.
media. Everyone's good at certain things, but definitely not everyone's good at discerning information and looking through and finding through disinformation. I watched kids struggle with it when we were in high school and we did research reports and stuff. So do you think those people got any better after high school? No, they didn't. So they
would
end
get
up
their news from
uninformed.
Twitter.
So like it's the struggle that isn't really easily solvable. Even if you were to deeply improve education in the United States, you'd still have a decent sized group of people who struggle with that type of discerning information, and there's nothing wrong with that. For people, they are useful in their own way, and they're assets in their own way to the entirety of society. But unfortunately, right now, a bunch of them are real angry about stuff that they don't understand, and are lighting shit on fire. And I get why they're angry. They have the right to be angry, because by all means, I'm angry for the same reasons, technically. I just kind of understand how the system works better than you do, and you're blaming the wrong... You're blaming lever A and B when lever D over here, that's the problem. And no one's talking about lever D. They're just talking about moving A and B, but moving A and B when they're in a stable position is a bad idea. So let's move A and B. That's how the politics is right now, in such a weird way where sometimes when talking to people, and part of it is everyone ends up in their own echo chamber because of how algorithms work. Even I end up in my own echo chamber and realize I am wrong sometimes. Because we all can end up in that loop, because that's how social media is designed. It's a dopamine loop. Man, I didn't know I spent time to get my degree in psychology before this DisasterCast.
I minored
but no
in
one has asked how is
so...
lever D. I don't know how is lever D. He's panicked. Because he's watching A and B go like this, and he's like, that's my job. But yeah, everyone gets into their own little loop. So sometimes you talk to someone with slightly different political views, and you're like, do we live in different Americas or different entire worlds? Because it's also even, the division is so deep in everything that even just bouncing between two news sources, they'll have such deeply different opinions on even something that's not opinionable. And you're like, how is it written so differently? And it's wild. And it makes people happy that it's like that. It helps people's dopamine loop, because when they want to read that, it gives them the dopamine hit that, yeah, they're right. But when people who don't want to read it, it still gives you a dopamine hit, because then you go back to the things that make you be right. Without actually looking towards the critical thinking of, hey, Article A and Article B about the same topic are completely fucking different. Maybe we should do some reading to find the inconsistencies that clearly must exist by bias. And no one does that anymore. Ground News sponsor me. I'll shout about the internet in the world.
Honestly, a big portion of the what contributed to this state of the world is honestly the corruption of journalism. Because ever since journalism...
I know you want to be a journalist, Bryan. How does this feel? Watching journalism die in front of you.
I actively saw journalism on a crash course to getting decapitated by certain journalists being decapitated. But, but no, ever since news was more, okay, what can we get to get more view counts and more watchers, so our shareholders are happy, so they would put out news
making
stories.
The news stations beholden to the shareholders. Not that that's necessarily a bad thing in theory, but it became to the corporate donors, not to like the American people. That's where it became a problem. It's different if me or you are investing in CNN or whatever and saying, hey, we're investing in you because we want you to tell the truth, instead of GM who goes, hey, we need to still sell cars.
Honestly, it's and because of all of that, it started turning over to, okay, we got to put out topics that our viewers are going to like, so they'll share them, they'll get their friends to watch. We also need to be the first one on news stories, even if we're not 100% correct.
Oh, has sucked during the couple since I'm trying to remember which event when we were in high school that began. I saw the transition point begin. Like that was, oh no, if this is how we're reporting this news story, this is only going to start getting worse if no one pushes back. It might have
Was
been
it
either
Sandy
Sandy
Hook?
Hook. It might have been Sandy Hook. It could have been the shooting that happened just before that. I'm not remembering which one it was. But it was one of those events when we were in high school, between 2010 and
To
2012.
to those of you who don't really know us, well, you guys probably could have discerned the state we live in by now, but yeah, it's Connecticut.
We've 100% said we live in Connecticut because swear we've said we live in Milford.
Oh, well,
I'm
there
very
you
sure
go.
we've
I
doxed
don't
ourselves
anymore, but
exactly to our city, but nowhere closer.
but yeah, we grew up in Connecticut, so we were in high school when Sandy Hook happened, so I legitimately remember the school shutting down basically the day that happened.
Yeah, yeah.
Like everybody, all classes ended, people just stopped and everything. So that was really close and like real for us in high school.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then people, you
It was
see the
happening like a couple
news.
towns over, essentially.
Yeah, and then you see some news stories covering the news of it, and then you see social media and other types of news sources
It got
already
bad.
starting
There was
already starting
lawsuits.
oh, there's actors in there. Those are child actors on all this stuff, and it's like people don't think before they speak anymore. Like, are you legitimately saying that these children were
Yeah,
paid to like
pretend their friends are dead. In terms of are we in news, we aren't. But both of us, Bryan specifically, pursued a career where he would end up in journalism or something similar to it, so that way he could begin as a journalist and then write books. And then it turns out we live in the United States of America and journalism's dead.
so yes, so in
He's a senior service writer instead.
2010 is where I first took my dip into journalism in sophomore year, and I loved it. And I went forward to be the editor in chief, I believe, of was I in high school or was I like the second in command? I was either the
You're
editor in
second in
chief.
command
I
in
think I
high
was
school,
second.
but you did more when you went to do your college
Yeah.
newspaper.
Oh yeah. Let me explain that, Conlan. God, I was building there.
I was building you up, bud, so I was only giving you props. So,
But yeah, it continued into college where I ended up joining the paper there, and by the end of my sophomore year, the second half, I was the editor in chief of that paper. I wanted to go into journalism. I went to a journalism conference my junior year where I probably I don't know if I told this story before to you. I think I did, but at least I don't think to the viewers. There is a hero out there because I went to a journalism conference that Donald Trump was the keynote speaker of the event for journalism.
that's hilarious.
And I barely knew who Donald Trump was at this time, other than he was a rich guy. And this was in 2014, right before he announced his presidential candidacy, like less than a month beforehand. And I only knew him as a famous person. I didn't know much about him, so I went over. I was like, "Oh, he's right there. Let me see if I can go shake his hand." And then there, as I'm approaching him, somebody came up to me, put their hand up to me like this, and said, "Don't." And then he ended up walking away, and I'm like, and then that person walked away, and I was like, "What the fuck? I could have shook Donald Trump's hand, a famous person." And then then a month later he put his presidential candidacy, and then he made fun of a journalist like this, and I'm like, oh, okay, that was a hero, and it just got that solidified
That guy
more in
went,
my mind
I'm
over time.
saving you for having a photo op with him by accident and you becoming a famous journalist. That's a whole different universe. Had you shook his hand, a whole branch was formed. That was Bryan Creevy becoming a famous local journalist, and then pictures of you while helping the Harris campaign come up of you you shaking Donald Trump's hand in college.
Yep, that would have been so bad. But honestly, that is honestly the start of my decline for journalism that just continued for the next year and a half, where I realized when I get out of college, I'm not gonna go into journalism.
Yeah.
Unless it's like very niche news, like not actually the news, but like stuff going on. And in that journalism conference, it was supposed to be about some of the journalists that were over in Middle Eastern countries getting beheaded. Like the family of one of those journalists was there to speak, and Donald Trump spoke maybe out of the hour and a half event, maybe 8 to 10 minutes about actual journalism and stuff. The rest of that entire period, he was talking about himself, the people he didn't like, including Obama, who is always going golfing, but I'm a better golfer than him because he has to
I
rise
can't believe you had
himself
to
up
watch
there.
that. I would have killed myself.
Oh,
That's just
the
because I haven't
funniest.
liked him talking. Because I've been aware of Donald Trump since I've been able to understand all of the sentence on the Vanity Fair like on all the smut magazines there by the checkout aisle that used to be when we were
Mhm.
kids all the time, all the tabloids, because he was always in the tabloids because they were talking about his sexual assaults and other things like that in the tabloids because he's a famous person. So it
Mhm.
was in the news constantly. He was on TV. So I remember reading all of that constantly being like, wow, he doesn't seem like a very good person. And I watched like one episode of The Apprentice and went, he is not a very good person.
Funniest part of that story, hold on, before we just go away from it, I just want to say I fell asleep multiple times in that audience. That's how boring of a speaker he was. That's why when Kamala Harris talked about people leaving his rallies, I understand. I haven't seen a full rally of his presidential candidacy, but because I've seen him speak, I know what it must be like, and I would have walked out if I could have.
I
Like it,
know.
but
Also,
that was the death of journalism.
it was just a dig at him too, which is honestly, it's such a fragile little ego that it's fun.
Yeah, with small hands to hold it.
Yeah, how could he ever hold that little of an ego with his little hands?
But yeah,
Uh,
that was the death of journalism, and Donald Trump capitalized on that along with a lot of other people. That people, like he said, Republicans will believe anything you say on Fox News. Like
yeah, play it.
he literally said that, and I don't get how people forget those things. Like
Yeah, no, I understand. It is. What was I to say? Crap, I lost my train of thought. Useless brain.
choo choo, choo choo.
Crashed into
I'm
a
just get
wall.
angrier.
I'm already peaked. So yeah, it's one of those. It's a struggle of news right now. I don't even think I want to talk about news anymore. It's in my head every day. It's
We had
exhausting.
to.
And
we had to.
admittedly, I am going to start talking about news on my channel though, because I've always enjoyed. Because I grew up as a scout leader and as a scout, and then became an Eagle Scout. I've always been into news and focused on news because it's part of some stuff you're taught over the course of your scouting career. And I stayed interested in it because we kept doing current events and crap like that for social studies and other classes like that.
And
So I've always
as
liked
we
news. Also, my
explained,
best friends wanted to be a journalist.
I was
So
gonna
like,
say, as we explained, I was into journalism. So me and you were strangely those weird kids who were into the news
and
and
what was
current
actually going on
events.
in the real, like, since we were very young, we've talked about major events across the whole world, our opinions on them, and how we
Mhm.
ourselves would want to do a different like way of doing it and whatnot. We've been doing it for such a long time.
Yeah, modern world history in ninth grade, the year we met. I don't even remember if we were in the same class, but
No,
I know we both took
we
it.
only had
I
physical science together.
loved that. I loved that class. I loved modern world history. It was always fascinating to both of us. So
It's okay. The people who voted the way they did, I was in class with them, and I get why they voted the way they did.
yeah, but
So upcoming on our D&D, since this is a D&D podcast that
it is
does
a D&D
sometimes talk about
podcast.
D&D,
We do
we're
do
doing a
the
session
D&D.
hopefully next Tuesday.
We have an entire map. Whoa.
Oh yeah, I haven't set my background as the map. I didn't even try and do that today.
You need to do that for the D&D session. You should do that almost every D&D session if you can, because that thing is so cool.
No, I'm gonna do it every D&D session. I have to. I'm right into streaming. Sometimes DT, every time personal. Well, it is is the creator's podcast. It's supposed to be.
Oh wait, did somebody say something?
Someone's been in the chat the whole time. I've been interacting. I'm great at doing this
I'm
job.
I'm so sorry if
He
you need to
does
say
not have
something
his
to
second
me.
monitor that he normally has. That is
So,
part of the problem.
Thank you. That is something I was actually going to get in. I wanted to mention it to put it in the stream. Is that my second monitor, which I always visuals here for like Discord, talking to my friends, and then everything else crammed into this screen. I woke up one morning and the screen's on, but it's blank.
Yeah, the display is just not working. Even like you can tell it interacts like its logic is there, but the actual display is dead.
Nope. Okay, I was gonna see. Can I lift my camera? Nope, not enough slack. But yeah. So I had, and luckily with that monitor, I bought it 3 years.
Are they gonna replace it?
I bought it 3 years and 10 months ago, so I'm under my 4-year warranty. And to answer that question, Conlan, it took me until yesterday to get somebody to respond to me.
Okay.
It's been 2 weeks. Philips customer service sucks.
As long as you get a monitor, who gives a shit? But
yeah, so that's my opinion now. I have to now see what they respond back with everything from my email. But they should be covering it because there's no physical damage and it's under the 4-year warranty. But they've discontinued this model monitor, so I know I'm gonna be getting some sort of upgraded version.
Yeah,
so.
they have to. Their warranty says it must be equivalent or better. So it has to still be a 27-inch 4K. I think it's 75 hertz too. It's not even like full 60 hertz. It's actually like a 75 hertz display. Mm-hmm. That was like a really good deal too for that. It was like only like $220 or some shit like that. It wasn't that expensive.
So I screenshotted all this information, obviously, because I've been.
Yeah, everything's personal because this podcast is me and Bryan, and us occasionally bring on cast members. It's seeing behind the shroud of what makes Nat Disaster, and being angry at governments and being angry about things in the real world. It goes into how we write with our D&D stuff. Because that's part of how this still was originally written until I made it have a seedy underbelly. Because I wrote that. And then Bryan went, know what? Fuck it. I like it. I'm going to make everything worse. And I'm like, wait, I didn't say that.
So the monitor that I got, 27-inch 4K UHD, 1 billion plus colors, ultra narrow borders, low blue, multi-view. That's what it just says from the title. I can't obviously see all the specs, but that's what I see from my screenshot. And it was after tax, $264.74.
That's really not that bad for when we bought that monitor.
Yeah.
That's great for now, because even though monitors have like price of making a good cheap monitor has gone down, realistically, monitors like that one have not gone down; they've gone up.
Mm-hmm.
Like 4K displays have just gone up for small ones.
So yeah, that is why I can't see the chat, because I normally have the chat put over there. But if I did that with this, then my screen of Conlan would be very small, and I'd probably be like this on the camera because he's gonna be there. So,
Bryan, I have extra monitors. I might get you an extra monitor if they don't get you your replacement in time.
Well, I'm not gonna have one by Tuesday.
Okay, then we'll get that. We'll do that this weekend. You need to have another monitor, or else you're gonna be gone crazy during session.
I've literally already been thinking about that. Like I said, I was in my head. I was like, I'm gonna make it work, but I would have to let people know ahead of time. Hey, I'm gonna be switching tabs a lot.
Yeah. Give me a second. It'd be like you going through the binder when we first started.
Let's just oh my god.
That was always the funniest. When you went, wait, I have something for this.
The original binder, I still have it, Conlan.
Well, I know, because that's the original notes. You haven't transcribed everything yet.
Yep. Ooh, which speaking of, since we're talking about D&D, obviously I'm probably going to change a lot of it, but when we first were playing D&D and we were passing by the Gandits of the Grasslands, I tried to map out the Gandits, like what their underground operation looks like. Like that is all just underground routes, because the guy who escaped from you guys that you guys tried to blow up, he got to one of those entrances, those hidden entrances, and that's how he was able to escape. But yeah, I mapped out an entire underground system with
Bryan, why have you
watchtowers.
written a Viet Cong into the world?
I didn't even mean for it to do that. I didn't even think of that until this moment now, Conlan. So
I know.
Maybe I was playing too much Black Ops.
I know you don't know enough about Vietnam, like, as a war overall, so I had a feeling that it was subconscious. Gotta make them have good tunnel networks!
Dude, people underestimate a good tunnel network.
It's gonna really stink when we fill it all with gasoline and burn them all to death.
I don't think you'll get enough gasoline.
You don't know that.
Conlan, okay, layout brackets plan to get enough gasoline.
Oh, it's not a bracket. Well, the Rain and Bracket need to meet first, because we need someone with the knowledge of us. And Rain, who's smart enough to get the details out of him. They'll meet when they go to the city. Because Rain has full goals to get to the Queen.
Which, I swear, you guys will get there eventually.
Oh, we'll get there sometime next year. It's whatever. I don't give a shit. That
before COVID, I literally was thinking, because we were thinking we were going to obviously keep playing that campaign. I was like, they'll be Desista in like 2 or 3 sessions.
Bryan, do you know how to estimate time with us at all? Like, every time you give me a time estimate, they'll do this. I'm like, you're wrong by, like, orders of magnitude.
So I just rewatched the first heist session, and Bryan, Maines, and Vicky were thinking that it was going to be around, like, 10 sessions. Andrew, I think Andrew was the first one, and he said like 8 or something like that. Then you, Callum said 20, and then you were saying pushing 30.
Me and Callum are with the realistic expectations of how we play. Because me and Callum are some of the problems. Because I'm the one who pushes all this lore, and Callum loves chaos, and between us, that causes you to have to both keep writing lore, and then I'm into it, and you're like, crap, I wasn't gonna fucking continue this storyline.
And also, the crazy thing is, I have to be so, like, lore focused, like good with my notes, because I'm building and creating this world and story, but I also have to be able to DM on the fly because Callum.
Yeah, exactly. It's not easy, which makes you a very good DM.
I've learned a lot in 5.5 years. 5.5 years.
I wonder if I can make it. I think I can make a deal with Grease Fleur.
I was like, what?
This is a joke hypothetical. I'm gonna have him fill all those fucking caverns with fire, man. And then he can do whatever he wants up in the fucking mountains. Don't bother him. Take your horde. I don't give a shit. Just don't bother me. Just kill all the Gandits.
If you
can take all of their shit. I don't care.
That would be a hilarious arc if
the surviving Gandits, they can be your under your liege.
Mm-hmm. That would be hilarious, seeing Rain and the Lucky Sink team up with the Misfit Warriors to go and bargain with Greasefleur.
He's like, I'm supposed to be evil. And it's like, yeah, we get that, but we're going to do a good deed for you so people stop bothering you.
Oh, God. Colin, you as Rain, be like, hey, Greasefleur, I'm back.
And are you going to lie to me again? We haven't decided that yet.
And that'd be hilarious, because Greasefleur would probably be like, wow, not many people have the opportunity to see me twice. Then
and live and live.
I love it. You should begin that conversation with, "How was your time on the Astral Sea?"
He's also gonna be pissed.
He was only on the Astral Sea for a couple of minutes, but still. Ah, God. I love having a dragon plot thread just hanging in the distance. Not anything immediate, but the
Could become a
mountain
problem.
range next to the city that is the center of basically our D&D stuff, has just ancient red dragon.
Bryan, I think we're at the point where I know when we first talked about this campaign, we said we'd see all kinds of continents. I don't think we're leaving this region.
Oh yeah, no, you guys are definitely not leaving Ty'Quorus, and I
Well,
have
Ty'Quorus is the whole planet, bud.
sorry, Galandria. But I honestly
remember.
have. Sorry, I'm always a little stony in the
Oh,
morning.
I'm 3 edibles in. But I also didn't eat my
I
burger, so it's not hitting me as hard as it should be.
I have a in-game reason as to why you guys haven't discovered other countries yet. Like right now, the planet of Ty'Quorus is very confined. Like your region thinks this is the planet. So anybody who eventually does go to another thing, which would probably be a completely separate campaign, would be
Let's go,
discovering
our
a new
colonialism
civilization.
arc!
Oh my god.
I'm still playing Grain! I'm just gonna be a level 20 character, bitch! I lead the party because I got the money!
Because of the fact that you guys are expanding a little bit, you're getting further than you have ever been north in the game right now. I've actually had to start like, all right, let's get specific names and lore and secrets and stuff like that for the Blood Ashen Peaks and the area above it. I have not named all of the regions yet of everything, but I officially named the region to above the Blood Ashen Peaks on the left side of the like giant center plateau, that to be called there's several names for it. It's the Tierlands, also known as the Terrorlands, and some people refer to it as the Terrorlands because this is the region with the Vapilmers and everything over there.
It sounds like they need a river to run through a castle.
There is.
That's still the plan, Bryan. It's horrifying. I'm running a river through a castle.
Yeah, well, we'll see if you guys ever get there.
Yeah,
we have the most
in 2
ADHD
decades. In 2
campaign
decades,
ever.
I'm gonna run a river through a castle.
On top of that, I actually had to also name some of the mountains up in that area. Get a little bit more detail into certain things built into the world. I had to look back at session -1 stuff, which was Callum's session before his session 0 with you guys. Yeah. Yes, dude. I did a session -1. And it's just cool to dig into all of that again because I came up with the concept of hold on, where is it? Sil Kal Durar and Kil Sal Durar, the Dwarven and the Duergar Empire up on one of the mountains way back when I built the Duress province.
No, it's one of the OGs. It's the dwarves are like because they're trade partners of Zista, correct?
Yes, the 3 major powers in the Duress province are the Zistalian Kingdom, the Scythian Empire, which are the dwarves, and then the Crescent Moon. I forgot the last name I had for that. It was Crescent Moon something. That's everything in the easternmost portion of the desert. But the dwarves, I didn't even name their peak yet or have any lore for it, but I've now come up with that from there. You guys are going to pass by an entryway into their territory in the distance, so it's going to be kind of like finally bridging that gap of, oh, hey, there's dwarves up north.
Rain knows there's dwarves up north. That's why she's learning Dwarven.
Mm-hmm. Well,
She knows
Bracket
her
doesn't
future.
know.
She knows her future duties.
Mm-hmm.
Getting in arguments with dwarves.
Bracket has no idea though, so you get to discover it with him.
Bracket don't know shit.
See, in Conlan, aren't you glad you can play Bracket again? Because it gives you an excuse to just not know
walk
anything.
into session with no fucking prior knowledge, even what happened last session. It's like, he doesn't have amnesia from day to day. You're correct, he doesn't. But does it really matter if he remembered that or not? It happened, it's his first memory.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, his first memories, yeah. You're going to be revisiting some of them soon.
I know. I'm excited. You have to at least... know what? I have an idea. This is me pitching lore to you.
Okay.
Because I smited that cobalt, right? Was it a thunderous smite, or was it a regular other smite?
That was a thunderous smite.
Perfect. Just, it can be totally clean, but there's a lightning bolt stuck within like an arcing design stuck in the wall, patterned into the wall.
That is so cool, but does thunderous smite do electricity? It's thunder damage.
Bryan, it's called.
If anything, wouldn't it be? If anything, wouldn't there be a blood splatter of like an explosion mark, like a perfect like circle at different rings, like a bomb went off in an area?
Maybe
just blood.
I'm willing to say maybe just the body of the cobalt as a bare minimum kind of impressed into the wall. Essentially, you can tell someone's been smashed into the wall. It's not like yeah, I'm okay with it being clean and the blood being gone. That makes sense. The place is being kept up by someone. But, like, you can clearly see there's markings on the wall that something hit the wall and went...
I'll come up with something for you.
Liquid.
But I do like that. I just can't think of a reason why it would turn into a lightning bolt on the wall.
That's fair.
If it was lightning damage, yes, but it's thunder damage, so it's more that, like, boom, like that, like, explosion.
I understand.
But that would be cool. I'll come up with something that you'll be happy with.
I'm sure. It is Bracket's first use of smite, so.
Mm-hmm. Also, there is, I don't know if you ever got the inkling of this, but there is more to the Shrine of Time just than that room. Have you ever like thought that before?
I assumed that it would be there'd be maybe not a full labyrinth, but there'd be other spaces and rooms if it's like a space of prayer, or even other caves nearby that are associated to the shrine for storage or for like other meeting rooms and stuff. I just didn't think about it at the time because it wasn't important. We were supposed to be playing. I thought we were trying to do a follow the leader. The DM drags me through the campaign, and now you put it open ended, and we're fucked.
So, a little sneak peek into my brain. Obviously, things can change because you're definitely not getting there in the next couple sessions. That special event would have to happen. But the Shrine of Time does have more room that can be accessed, and it's kind of like a dungeon, but only in the sense of like it's kind of like a dungeon like we did with the with Warrior's Rest. I like that more modern Legend of Zelda games are doing like dungeons of places that aren't actually dungeons and things like that, but it's the layout and the design is like that. So
that it's not actually dangerous necessarily, but you have to go through the traps, you have to go through the riddles and crap like that to get places.
Yeah, or it's a completely like normal environment like a temple, and oh my god, it was overrun with something in there. So there are evil things in there, but the environment is just, well, this is not a dungeon. Sorry if that bored you. I like talking about these things.
Oh, that's fine.
I know dungeons aren't
I don't care.
You like the role play more.
I like roleplay, but I'm fine with discovery and dungeons and stuff. It just has to. I think we did a great job with Warrior's Rest. That one was fun overall. Dungeons can become boring, is the answer. Like, the one we did in Humblewood, where it wasn't really a dungeon, it was going through that, where all the dead people were. That one was kind of tedious. That was less fun, because it was so combat heavy. That I don't think we ever really stopped being in combat over the course of like 3 fucking sessions. It was like a moment of like, okay, everyone take your healing potion.
And the funniest thing about that was that was completely optional.
It was completely optional. We were there forever.
Yeah,
it was fun. I want to say it wasn't fun, but boy, that was tedious compared to the Warrior's Rest, which was much more fun.
That place was fucking small too. Like with the Necromancer, it had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 major rooms, and then like hidden rooms and pathways. That is all that dungeon was. 5 rooms.
In a really long hallway.
Yes, in a very long hallway where you guys broke the system with with your ability to create a wall and just shoot past it.
Hey, if there's a game mechanic I can abuse, I'm gonna abuse it.
Yeah, that was my attempt at making a small side quest dungeon. You make hits, you get misses. Warrior's Rest was good. That one was fun, but you are right, tedious and honestly,
we were there too long for a side quest. A side quest is a session.
Well, the only fucking reason it was longer than I intended was because you fuckers weren't just figuring out what I thought you would figure out in like some of the hidden chambers, like the one that was like that had that like altar and everything like that, and that energy coming from it. Like they where the monsters just kept summoning and following you down the hallway. The longer it took you to, more of them were gonna like revive. So I ended up having like 14 dead enemies in that room running after you, and I'm like, you did this to yourself, guys. I expected more from you. Somebody say something funny in the chat.
Yeah, he said, "Damn, my electricity blasted. Now I out of it for now. Goodbye and good night, or day, or noon, or timeless. Timeless. Life is timeless.
Timeless.
It's even funnier because Bracket's the hero of light and time.
You're going to the Shrine of Time where your goddess is, so you better be paying attention, Mr. Stoney."
She doesn't talk to me. She won't show me the fucking contract.
Okay, she may not talk to you, but shouldn't you be curious and try to figure it out?
She's talked to Rain more than she's talked to Bracket in his memory.
There might be a reason for that.
I know, but that's still funny that...
You got Bolt.
I know. I understand. I'm just being a dick.
I know.
I understand that Bolt is essentially in commune with my goddess and is giving me notes. And he's like I'm forgetting the name of it in Legend of Zelda. Listen.
Navi.
Yeah, Navi. He's essentially Navi, but not obnoxious.
Just admit it. You like Rain's lore and backstory more than Bracket's because you wrote Rain's backstory.
Yeah, well, also, like, I relate to both characters. But Rain actually can do something about her surroundings, and I can't, so that's fun to have that kind of control. I know Bracket's the hero in the story, but he's the hero in the story. He'll get it done.
That's true. But hey, I can make fun of you like I made fun of Brian Maines just walking away from his lore and stuff like
He just
that.
fucking ignored it. He also was drunk that night, so like,
Hmm.
you hear the thunder roaring in the distance. You can see storms appearing over the desert.
You see in the
Neat.
storm a mix of fire and little glistens of snow swirling around with the rain. Uh, that's interesting.
Huh?
It, it's gonna be interesting. I've made we'll talk about it more in D&D session, but I've made a copy of a character and I've started already like, okay, how am I gonna put the spells and stuff like that?
Oh, interesting.
Mm. Yeah, just because now me fully, but more about that on Tuesday. Uh, but yeah, sorry, we're both a little bit
Oh, we're both stoned. The edible has hit both of us now. We are both now like, fuck, crap, we've hit the edible at the same time.
yeah,
We're
but
both cooked.
going back into D&D with you, you should probably, I mean, you have the potential as Bracket to get some of the most powerful
Yeah, I know.
items and upgrades and stuff like that.
That's why
So,
Bracket's I get to actually play through to level 20 character. Rain is the randomly, starkly jumping
mhm.
her character sheet because we're not
Bracket
doing the
gets
in
it
between.
Bracket
Yeah.
gets it handed to him. Rain has to
Well,
like.
also for Rain, because there'll always be breaks in me playing her. She's always in the story, but I don't need to play her in the political intrigue game for like the 2 months that the Misfit Warriors are on a quest. Who
Mhm.
fucking cares? Things happen. Someone tried to assassinate her. Life is life. General Eldrick is losing his mind as always,
Mhm.
and incredibly stressed. We don't need to play that out. That's just boring.
That's
That can
something
just
that
be
you'll
said.
get
It
in like
happened.
a novel or something like that, a little short story.
Yeah, we can write a short story or some shit. But like,
That would that
That's
would
why
be
Rain
cool.
will always jump like her level when I play her. Is next time she shows up, she'll probably be another level higher
Hmm.
because she's gained all this experience, and now she's playing the political intrigue game. Because
You have leveled up twice in like 5 days,
it's
four
been
days,
a rough couple days. One guy died 4 times.
and also was kidnapped.
He even kidnapped himself once too.
Oh
I
god.
am now in a different plane, and I do not know how to get home.
I'm okay. So I am rewatching The Heist, which is gonna be a fucking journey. But I'm doing it one because I haven't obviously seen all the early stuff in a while. But two, I never did the crit counter, the nat one counter, and
Oh
stuff
yeah,
like
so you
that for
need to
you
get an
guys.
official count. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be cool if we do start because it'd be cool to like maybe get a website at some point, post
Oh,
like short stories
we need to
and
do some
stuff like that.
website.
We can have a stat counter and stuff like that. It'd be cool to get that.
No, I think we should work with Chris, who knows how to help us build websites, to do that.
Mhm.
We need to, if we're gonna, like, no matter what, we're gonna keep doing this. But if we want to continue to try and in any way monetize this and try and promote it, which is why we're gonna do Blue Sky and we're gonna be active. We're both gonna be signed into Blue Sky on the Nat Disaster account. We need to keep using it.
That was one of the downfalls for me on social media, especially with Nat Disaster, is I lost access to Twitter.
Yeah, yeah,
I
your
can't.
account stopped working.
Yeah. And because my account stopped working, I just never used the app. Blue Sky, I downloaded it. Again, I should need to be more active on that, but if I had a motivator like the Nat Disaster channel, 100% would be on it more often.
Yeah, because we just need to do that. Because I'm as soon as right before winter break into winter break, I'm gonna start trying to do streaming all the time so that way I can grab some amount of traffic from winter break people.
And we should finally get an LLC, probably.
Yes, that is like beginning of New Year.
Yeah, and at the same time, I can do more of my DM play stuff once I get a second fucking monitor.
Yeah.
But
we're all just gonna this 2025, since everything else sucks and the world's collapsing around us, we might as well try and become YouTube celebrities. That's all we got left now. Nothing else matters.
hey, there are people out there to listen to everybody's opinions. So if we hit
Why not be ours?
the right crowd, if we hit the right crowd,
as stated, people are like, I will love a D&D podcast that's slightly political and kind of mean. I love it.
Oh, and they also play Pokemon. Oh, they also do like you.
What we're making is a show for a bunch of millennials that don't have time to watch our show.
Basically, yep. That's what we've been doing. That our intended audience are people our age.
Our age that already don't have any time, so they ain't watching a 2-hour podcast.
Yeah.
They're like, well, that sucks. I have to go stare at Excel for 18 hours. Bye.
I have to go worry about service in the auto industry for 11 hours.
Now instead, I'm gonna become a YouTuber and a Twitch streamer. I'm gonna be like them Gen Zers.
Oh my god. Yeet, which I think is also several generations back now.
He is point. Old, dude. Fucking oldie over here. Dabbing.
We dabbed so much in the first Misfit Warrior campaign.
Well, yeah, all the time. It was because it had just become uncool. So me and Asia love when things just become uncool because that's who we are. Because we're dweebs. So I did it a bunch, didn't I?
Yeah, 100%, all the time.
I think I do in one of the first disaster casts too.
Yeah, that I don't know if I'll ever go through and watch all of them. I think because I'm not counting anything in there unless I could. I just got to figure out a counter. What am I counting in all?
I don't know. It can't be swears. That would take too long. That would be funny though.
How many times Conlan complains about Bluetooth?
Yeah, that could be Bluetooth complaint counter. I have no complaints on the iPhone with Bluetooth because I haven't used it at all. I've just been using my Pixel 7 because I'm lazy.
that
not because nothing works.
Next DisasterCast.
I'll just use the Pixel. Yeah, next DisasterCast will be an intro. Cause I am actually planning on writing a video on being a journalist. What? I'm going to review being an Android user since 2010 and moving on to an iPhone and how that experience has been. Because I think it'd be a very fun insight, ability to complain about both Android and iPhone, because I got complaints. Lots of them. For both. And lots of compliments, too.
If you want to do a written view as well too, I can always do a written published thing for you.
Oh yeah, we'll put it on our website.
We got plans coming, Conlan.
I actually intend to do reviews for devices we use because why not? Like, why not have reviews? They're not going to be the best reviews. They're going to be a guy, one of us saying, I have a product. Okay, Windex is now a product.
Game reviews, I can do those.
This impact driver do drive impact. You're not getting any scientific testing over here.
Yeah.
It's me and my objective opinion, which is objectively right.
All the time, right?
Always right. Never been wrong. Not once in my life.
Cool. Well, on that note, I have to get ready for work now because that 6 to 6 life, gotta love it.
Yeah. Well, you gotta pay the bills so that way we can do this. So that way this
Until
can
this
pay the bills.
makes money to pay the bills.
Exactly.
Oh That's actually
how
funny.
It is. That's how it is. It's life.
Nat Disaster, I've been working at this job since right before we started Nat Disaster, so a history of this channel for me is also a history of my job in this place, and
It
I've been
is because
progressively working more hours.
that job allowed you to have the stability to focus on that disaster.
Yeah. I remember having to rush back to your house within an hour after work.
Yeah. Sometimes if you forgot something, you just went, "Well, that sucks. I need a shirt. Give me a shirt."
Yep. Came in, all right, work shirt off. Oh, wait, where's this? Pull it out of my backpack, put it on.
The one time you forgot a shirt and you wore one of my shirts, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, probably. All right, well, everybody, thank you for coming around. We'll see you in the next disaster chat. Good morning.
Bye.